If there was one thing that you could communicate about climate change, what would that be?
Well, that it's happening now and happening hard. It's not a problem for the future. It's breaking over our heads right this minute. 19 nations set new all-time temperature records this past summer. We saw the Arctic melt, we saw Russia catch on fire, we saw Pakistan drown. These are just what the climatologists tell us are going to keep happening, and it's getting worse fast.
So we're here this weekend to talk about carbon pricing in particular, and as you've seen, as we've all seen, this is an extremely hard sell politically. What do you think can help to turn the tide on the perception around carbon pricing?
Well, one of the things that can help is some experience, and happily BC and places are at least giving some sense of experimenting with how we're going to do this and what it's going to look like. Mostly we just need people to understand how tough the situation is, and that the basic problem is simply that the fossil fuel industry has such a good thing going, the ability to use the atmosphere as an open sewer for free, that we've got to bring that to an end. We can do it without bankrupting ourselves if we're smart about this dividend kind of stuff, and we got to do it. We got no choice, and we really need Canada stepping up a little bit. Those of us who are Americans are used to looking across the border and seeing better ideas, people behaving better. It's kind of a shock to look up right now and see Canada deciding that it really wants to become the kind of drug dealer for junkies in America on fossil fuel, and that's depressing in every way.
What do you think one of the big obstacles to climate action in Canada, ironically for what you're saying, is that we think that we need to wait for the U.S. to take action on climate policy?
If you wait for the U.S. to take action, you may wait a long time. The mind-numbingly bad politics right now in the U.S. is a big problem, and we need some other people taking the lead too. We need to work on this as a planet. We're working hard in 188 countries, and America is an important one of them, but every one of them is important. And Canada is traditionally a real leader on these kind of issues. We need that.
Final question here. One of the big questions about climate change and communications is that people debate whether we need to frame it as, talk about the catastrophe, talk about the impacts, compared to talking about the economic opportunities. What's your perception on that?
I don't know. You could argue it either way, I suppose. We've found that if you just tell people the truth, they're able to deal with it and go to work on it. That's what 350.org is. I mean, we've been organizing around a kind of wonky scientific data point, and yet we've built the biggest global environmental movement that there's ever been. So we think people are up to it, and we think telling the truth is probably a good idea. At the very least, if we're going to screw up this planet, we might as well know what it is we're doing while we do it.
Why do you think those international impacts have an impact here at home? Do you think that's enough motivation?
I don't know if I don't think anything's enough motivation. We're clearly losing right now. But I think that pointing out that this is a deeply moral issue is certainly part of what we need to do. People are suffering in inverse relationship to how much of the problem they cause right now. And that's so unfair that it's painful to see.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.